Alright, so I was going to show all of my Killer Instinct games. So first off, we'll start with the JAMMA board for the arcade. I don't have an actual cabinet for Killer Instinct, but I do have the board. So I bought a Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet back in either 99 or 2000. I don't remember the exact date. I just know it was like winter time. So anyway, you can swap out JAMMA boards and stuff, and my dad helped me make a 6-button layout control panel so I could play this, and then this is where the hard drive will connect. I had 2 different hard drives. I always thought this was like an original, but it's a Seagate, so I don't know. Is this what came with it? Probably not. But anyway, I was reading off a hard drive instead of a flash drive. So let me set this down somewhere very carefully, and then we'll get on to the home consoles. So we've got the Super Nintendo version. It's the original box. This is one of the few Super Nintendo boxes I have that I bought brand new that isn't immaculate. It's got some dents in the corner, and I don't know where those came from, but anyway, it's the box. I was actually looking for my Killer Cut CD. I've actually got 2 copies of that. One that came with this, and then another one somebody gave me. So I know I've got 2 copies. I was trying to find it. I was digging all around upstairs, but couldn't find it. But it's around somewhere. Super cool box. So there's the box itself, and then we've got the actual cardboard tray that it comes in, and the game itself. Played tons of this. We didn't get the the version on the Ultra 64 that we were promised, but this one was done really well considering what they had to crunch it down to. And I've also got, I'll show you all the stuff that came in the box too. So we've got, what's this? It's like a little free Killer Instinct Player's Guide. Oop, dropping stuff. Always love that picture of Fulgore. Super cool. Try to get all of it in here. Very neat. Alright, so we got that. There you go. Important. Copy protection meat. There you go. All these numbers. That's in there. I've also got this. We all know what that is. Super Metroid. Oh, I love these posters. I forgot about this. It's great. Look at that. Donkey Kong Country. Got some Super Punch out there. Stun Race FX. Super Mario World. Star Fox. Very cool. And then we have the manual itself. This is kind of a weird thing, you know. But back a long time ago, video games used to come with what they called instruction booklets, aka manuals. And inside, if they weren't lazy, were nice colored pictures. And then even when they got lazy, it was black and white, but at least you still had something. And these days, they just don't pack anything in your games, which is really a shame. This was so cool, especially, I'll say, especially when you're a kid and you had to go to school, right? You just got this game and all you can think about is playing it. At least you could take this to school with you, right? Take this, take those video game magazines. So cool. Hopefully all of this is showing up nice. So these are the kind of things, like, you know, you can emulate these games. And fortunately there are places that have like PDF scans of all this stuff, which is really cool. This stuff should always be in. This is my opinion, but like anytime there's an official like re-release or something, the manuals should always be in there as a digital thing. And I think there should be 3D renders of the box that you can rotate around and stuff. I think that'd be pretty cool. I never wrote in any of these things. They're like, here, put your notes here. I'm like, no. Always wanted to keep this stuff pristine. Very cool. So, that is Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo. Then, amazingly, somehow, some way, grab this one here. To put Killer Instinct on the Game Boy. Now, I'll say that while the Killer Instinct on Super Nintendo I bought on launch day, this I did not. Okay? I bought this much later. But the reason I didn't buy it is all thanks to Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy, which was terrible. That game was so laggy and just, ugh, it was terrible. So I thought, you know what? If the Game Boy can't handle Mortal Kombat, there's no way it can handle Killer Instinct, but it all comes down to who's programming it. And these guys were amazing. They were amazing. Everything they did on the N64 was just like so far beyond what most people were doing. The content and the quality and all that stuff. And these guys somehow made Killer Instinct work on the Game Boy. 2 buttons, right, going from a 64-bit arcade game, which was more advanced than anything that we had at home. Porting that down to a 16-bit was one thing, but then to crunch it down to a handheld console from the 80s with 4 shades of brown-green and then 2 buttons, like how did they do it? They did it. I'm going to make videos on that because it's really good. But here's the cardboard tray that it comes in. And here's the cartridge, which we'll take out. It's got the nice little cases. These were so cool, man. So I actually have 2 copies of this now. Very cool. I love these cartridges. These are great. Like, they were small, but they weren't too small, you know? Like the Switch games, it's just like, I can't stand it. This was perfect. The Game Boy, I love that. So what comes with that? We have inside several different things. Let's see. Danger. Do not open. Well, we're going to do it. You ready to become a power animal? Everything's hype. Everything's cool. Everything's hype. Everything's fun. That's what this era was, man. Everything was about graphics and fun. There was no politics involved in anything. The only controversy you had was like, oh, these bloody games, rating systems, yada yada yada. That was about the extent of what you got. I don't know, does anybody care about this? Consumer information. There you go. Da da da. 400 languages. Nobody wants that. Then we've got this. What's this? Oh man, there's the game. That's what I got a Game Boy for right there. Wanted that more than anything. Let's open this up. Game Boy, play it loud. Space Invaders, Metroid 2, Kirby Pinball Land, Tetris, Donkey Kong, Wario Land, Kirby, Super Nintendo. Look at all this stuff. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And on the back, just a little Play It Loud mini poster. And then lastly, we have the manual. It's not in perfect shape, but no pages are torn or anything. We'll run through this real quick. So yeah, they did a great job. Like they only have eight characters in the game. So there's no Cinder and there's no Riptor. But I tell you what, man, they really did something with it. They got the stages, they got the musics right. And for it only having 2 buttons, I mean, it did some really good stuff. You can actually see here. So if you tap the button, it's a weak attack, and if you hold it, it's fierce. And it did some other things, like if you hold down and press punch, that's a weak punch. And then if you like hold, down back or down forward, right, it's a different one. I think down forward is light, and then, yeah. Same with your special moves, like just for instance, let's say you're Glacius and you rotate forward kick. Well, that could either be a teleport or it could be the liquidized uppercut. So it's all based on how long you hold the button. If you tap it, you teleport, and if you hold it, you do the punch. And the combos actually work really well. Like if you know how they work in the arcade and you play it, you're like, wow, you can actually do some of these. So definitely a good game. I mean, for what it is, that's the thing you have to remember. You can't just like load it up and be like, oh, is this game supposed to be amazing? No, like consider what this is. It's made for like Tetris and Mario Land and stuff, and it's like they put this on here. It's insane. And then yes, of course, it runs on the Super Game Boy, and then when you do that, it actually adds color, and it changes the color palette per stage to kind of match more closely to the environment. So like you're on Glacius' stage, it's a blue palette, and yada yada yada. Alright, then we move on to Killer Instinct Gold on the N64, another game I picked up launch day, of course, had to. This is such a cool picture. Although I will say I much prefer like Super Nintendo covers where they're like a unique painted cover. Those Konami ones especially, man. Turtles in Time, Castlevania 4, all that stuff. But these are still cool covers, man. And here's the back. Kind of zoom up a little bit. And of course you gotta have all the cool bullet points in the 90s. Great game, played really well. It was nice having this on a game that came on a console that had 6 face buttons. For some reason, we always want to do 4 face buttons, and there's all these 6 button games. Like the Genesis 6 button controller was cool. The Saturn came stock with a 6 button controller, and the N64 did too. And here's the tray. And then the game itself, this has seen a lot of play, and this is a heavy cartridge. This has got a lot of stuff in. Some games you'll play, you're like, yeah, it's kind of lightweight. This Joker is packed. So while they definitely had to make some shortcuts, man, they really spent some money on this Joker, I'll tell you. So there's that, and then I'll show you what came with it. A couple things maybe not so interesting, maybe some things are. Let's see. N64 stuff. Yeah, just your sort of yada yadas. Right? All the stuff that in a modern game you'll have to scroll through and accept before you can start your game. We could bypass it back in the day. Next up, some Mario. Player's Guide offer inside. Look at that. What a great picture. Subscribe to Nintendo Power. Sign me up. And love it, love it. Then we've got, this is cool. A little quick reference card. I don't even remember this. Very cool. So, there you go. Quick reference. Wow. This might have come in handy. I mean, I already knew a lot of KI. Actually, that reminds me, there's something I need to show you guys. I need to do a whole video on it. The, essentially what I consider the KI2 Holy Bible, man. It's the main thing that taught me KI2. I'll show that in just a second. Let me go ahead and show the instruction manual real quick. Instruction manual. Still in color, right? We can still print with color ink. Very nice. See that layout, man? That worked. It worked so well. They made these manuals look so good too. Very nice. Look at that. Explaining the combo system right there. Very nice. Honestly, didn't remember all this stuff being in here. This is cool. Looks like it's, yep, rock, paper, scissors. Look at that. Going through projectiles. Wow, there's actually a lot in there. That's interesting. This has kind of been just locked away in the box for decades. Pressure moves, man, they're really telling you. This isn't just like, hey, press this button. This is telling you how to play the game right here. Combo breakers, shadow moves. Why did I do my tutorials? I should just say, hey, download this. Download this. There you go. No. It's a little different reading it and having it presented to you. But, man, there's a lot in here. Very cool. I guess I didn't really use it because I already knew this stuff already. Oh, look at this. Sample combos, everything. Yeah, I already knew this stuff, so I didn't necessarily study this. Look at this. This is actually very similar to something I drew up. I never presented to you guys. I was going to show you like what the actual like combo flow is. That's neat. They've got it right here. I might still do that though. We'll see. Very cool, man. This is a whole strategy guide right here, man. It's just this kind of stuff, man. You know, that maybe this saves them $1. Maybe it saves them a nickel. I don't know what it is, but when people give you this kind of stuff with the game you bought, it's like, oh, okay, you're actually doing something. These days, they want to scrimp you so much. It's like you go to a restaurant and they won't give you a fork, you know? It's like, people, oh, what's the big deal? They gave you the food, but it's like, man, could you be any lazier? Okay, let me show you this real quick. I won't go through the whole book necessarily or scan it, but this right here, my friends, this is it. This was the book. This thing has been used. This is what really taught me KI2. You can still find this. I looked this up last week. I was like, can you even still find this? They got it on eBay. You'll pay about $40 for it, but such a cool book. I might run through it if you guys want, but it's got we got some cheeks, some cheek renders there. Some real cool stuff. Real cool pictures, man. At the back. From KI1 right there. Saberwolf's stage. 1-4. Skipping some stuff there, but really cool pictures. But the main thing is, right, they'll show the endings, what the conditions are for the endings. All this stuff. Right? All the character colors. Also victory and whatnot. Let me take this off the mount real quick and I'll try to show you a little bit. For instance, like there's a little cheat card in there. So you could take somebody like, well, yeah, we'll say Jago. Jago was like, he's the main dude you should learn first if you're gonna learn the game. But like, here he is. Here's his whole bio, his awesome victory, all his different poses, his colors, right? What all of his normals look like. Get over here, you got your special moves. Now I will say there are some things that are incorrect in this book, and it is missing a few things, but like this really helped. This is where I learned it all. I knew some stuff, but when I got this, because I couldn't do like big ultras until I got this, and then I was like, oh, I understand, and the rock paper scissors stuff and all that. There's your combo structure right there. Yeah, just look at that. So like, yeah, here's your ultra, right? This was the whole thing. I can get minimal glare here, right? Do the parry, do the wing kick, auto, manual, super linker, auto, manual, super linker, right? Auto, manual, super linker, pressure, super linker, pressure, ultra, and then while the ultra is going on, do the super. And that's pretty much what you do with everybody. So yeah, really, really cool book. talks a lot about the game. Very cool, very cool. So anyway, oh, I guess lastly, so I got them in here. I was like, let me just show all my KI games. I forgot we've got Xbox One here. The only reason I even bought that system. So, of course, when Killer Instinct launched on the Xbox One, it was digital only. But they did end up doing a physical release of the game. So at least they did that. And of course they have to be weird and put disc in the left side for some reason. But there's your manual right there. There's no manual in here, dude. It's a, well, there's your code. Go ahead and use that. I don't care. It's probably already been used, and if it hasn't, there you go. There's your code. Anybody who's watching, if you want to try it, go ahead. I don't care, because I already have DJ Combo or whatever. So use that code, have it. I don't care. There you go. It's back behind the disc. This is what they give you. This is how far. Look at that. Just limp, miserable. It's dumb. I hate it. Anyway, there's that. And then there's the definitive edition as well. Now, I actually have two different Xbox Ones because I'm a maniac, and what I wanted to do was keep, this is actually a soundtrack, I'll show you that. I wanted to keep an original, like season 1 on one of them, and yeah, it's stupid, but there's the disc. We've got a redeem code right here. What is this? Redeem your code, special edition, gold Gargus costume. Don't care. Never used it. And then we've got this little thing. They can print out a little piece of paper to advertise to you. Hey, I've got some of these. Yes, sir, I do. In fact, hold on. They're sitting right here on my desk. I wouldn't even think about those. There's Saberwolf. Pretty cool. And here's Jago. I don't know why I didn't even think about these. They've just been sitting on my desk. Jago. I got Vogel right here. Problem with Fulgors is these are so flimsy. It's like this rubbery plastic, and you can't get them to stay apart. I've tried like leaving them like spaced out, hoping it would open them up a bit, but it doesn't. There's that. I've got Shadow Jago and what's her name, Hasako or something, I don't remember. But they're not on display. And then yeah, there was a little soundtrack. It doesn't have all the sounds or all the songs from the game. It doesn't have all the parts, but they couldn't even put it in its own sleeve. I think it was just like stacked on top of the disc. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. Whereas Killer Cuts, which I'll have to find it. I've got it. Killer Cuts was in its own little cardboard sleeve. Like we can't do a cardboard sleeve. Come on. Okay, so I forgot to show this. And this is something my sister got for me. Back when KI was first released on the Super Nintendo, she worked at a comic shop. And this came in, and she got it for me. And I've had it on display like ever since she got it. This has never been put away anywhere. It's always been hanging up in my room or wherever. Right now it's in my living room. I just keep it there. Super cool. You've probably seen this, like Maximilian has like the full-size version in the background. I remember whenever the new KI was getting big, he got one of those. I almost had that big-ass one. They had that at Blockbuster. Me and my mom were talking to the people that worked there. We're like, hey, what happens to that when, oh yeah, it gets thrown away? It's like, can we get it? Can we reserve it? And oh yeah, that's fine. And then some time went by and they're like, oh, we had to send it back. I was like, oh, jeez. So I almost had one of those, but anyway, there's that, and then actually today I've got to put it together, but I have the KIRK1 up now too, so hold on. Alright, so can't show too much of it. It's got stickers all over, you know, addresses, whatnot. This showed up yesterday. So I'll have to set this thing up so I can play online with the people who have Arcade 1 up, but yep, got it too, so like I needed another copy of KI, but here it is, so yeah, we'll be doing that. Alright, I think that's literally it now, so we'll see you next time. Later.